The entrance had been sealed for nearly 12 years, not permanently, not forgotten, just restricted, pending further geological review. On a mild morning in early spring, a small research team arrived to reopen it. The objective was routine: reassess air quality, structural stability, and hydrological changes inside an underground limestone cave system that had once been mapped, partially studied, and then closed after minor rockfall activity. The steel gate was intact. The external monitors showed no structural shifts in the surrounding hillside. Surface vegetation had grown thick around the perimeter fence, but the lock responded immediately to the keycard. Nothing suggested urgency. The first technician stepped inside with a handheld light meter and a compact atmospheric sensor. Temperature: stable. Oxygen levels: normal. Humidity: higher than expected, but within tolerances for subterranean chambers. They moved slowly, cataloging as they went. The cave corridor extended downward at a shallow angle. Limestone walls, pale and porous, carried thin mineral streaks from seasonal runoff. Sound behaved as it always does underground: dampened, absorbed, close. But 20 meters in, something changed. The audio recorder attached to the lead researcher registered an anomaly. Airflow. Not a breeze. Not enough to feel on skin, but measurable. The cave had previously been mapped as a mostly enclosed system. Any airflow should have been minimal and static. Instead, the handheld monitor indicated intermittent pressure shifts, subtle, rhythmic. The team paused. There was no obvious second entrance, no visible collapse that might have opened a new shaft. Yet the instrument suggested movement somewhere deeper inside. They marked the reading and continued. Further in, condensation patterns appeared irregular. Certain wall sections were drier than expected. Other areas carried a faint layering, not mineral deposits, not mold, but something thin and fibrous stretched between rock protrusions. At first glance, it resembled mineral filaments left behind by evaporated drip lines. But it did not fracture like mineral. It flexed. The lead geologist ran a gloved hand lightly through the air. Nothing touched her skin. Still, the light beam reflected strangely, catching on threads so fine they seemed almost invisible. They documented the observation without commentary. Humidity readings increased another 3% within 15 meters. Then the infrared scanner produced an unusual result. Not heat signatures. Caves are typically thermally stable. But the surface density map displayed irregular clustering along the ceiling of the next chamber. A faint textural difference. Subtle. Widespread. The mapping drone was deployed. It rose slowly into the larger cavern ahead, its quiet rotors stirring the still air just enough to disturb loose particles. The camera transmitted a live feed back to the tablet screen. The chamber was larger than previous surveys suggested. Either earlier teams had not accessed this section fully, or sediment shifts had altered internal passages. The drone light swept across the ceiling. For a moment, nothing appeared unusual. Then the camera adjusted exposure. The upper vault of the chamber was not bare limestone. It was layered. Fine materials stretched in overlapping sheets from wall to wall. Not randomly. Structured, dense in places, thinner in others. The scale was difficult to interpret without reference. The drone moved closer. The feed flickered briefly as the rotors encountered resistance. Not rock, not debris, but suspended strands. The signal stabilized. Across the ceiling and down portions of the walls, something biological was present. Extensive. Organized. The team stood in silence, studying the monitor. No one used a name yet, but the cave was no longer empty. Something had been living here, not recently, but for a long time. The first physical sample was collected from a low-hanging filament near the chamber entrance. Under magnification, the material was unmistakably organic. Protein-based, flexible, strong. Layered in multiple strands, some freshly spun, others brittle with age. The team proceeded deeper. With each meter, the density increased. What had appeared from a distance as isolated patches now revealed itself as a continuous network extending across the cavern's ceiling. The structure varied in thickness, in some sections nearly translucent, in others layered so densely it formed a pale canopy. Movement within the strands was subtle, not coordinated, not dramatic, but present. The headlamps illuminated small, deliberate shifts across the upper surfaces, shapes the size of coins, others larger, all moving slowly within the layered matrix. The researchers adjusted their tone, still professional, still measured, but quieter. The scale became clear only after the drone completed a full perimeter scan. The chamber measured approximately 60 meters across and nearly 25 meters at its highest point. Nearly every square meter of ceiling space contained some form of webbing. Clusters occupied rock shelves along the walls. Smaller formations extended into adjoining tunnels. The colony was not confined to a single chamber. It had expanded into at least 3 interconnected caverns. Species identification required close observation. Several specimens were captured briefly in containment vials before being released. Morphological characteristics suggested a cave-adapted spider species, likely troglobitic or partially troglophilic, pale exoskeletons, reduced pigmentation, elongated legs suited for navigating suspended strands. There was no evidence of aggression. The spiders did not descend toward the researchers. They remained within the upper architecture of their woven environment, moving along established pathways as if the cave itself had become a 3-dimensional surface. Navigation grew complicated. The layered silk interfered with drone rotors. The team switched to a tethered camera system to avoid damaging large sections. Headlamps required constant adjustment, as reflective strands created visual distortion. Footing was deliberate. Though the web structures were concentrated above, thin connective lines stretched downward in places, nearly invisible until illuminated at a certain angle. The colony's size was difficult to calculate precisely. However, extrapolation based on density sampling suggested tens of thousands of individuals, potentially more. The cave environment offered explanations. Steady temperature year-round, high humidity, minimal air disturbance. Nutrient input likely came from small insects entering through microscopic fissures or carried by seasonal airflow changes. Over time, the silk layers accumulated. Generation after generation expanded the network rather than abandoning it. Carbon dating of older silk samples indicated that parts of the structure were at least 2 decades old. This was not a sudden population surge. It was a sustained, stable expansion. The further chambers showed similar occupation. In one section, the ceiling appeared almost entirely coated. A pale membrane stretched from wall to wall, anchored to stalactites and mineral outcroppings. The effect was not chaotic. It was architectural. By the end of the 3rd hour, the research lead made a preliminary recommendation. Further intrusion could destabilize the upper layers. Increased airflow from repeated entry might alter humidity balances that had remained consistent for years. The decision was not immediate closure, but access would be restricted. The cave had become something else, not simply a geological formation. An active ecosystem, extensive, layered, and delicately sustained in darkness. In the weeks that followed, data analysis provided clarity. Caves are among the most stable environments on Earth. Temperature fluctuations are minimal, light is absent, external disturbances are rare. For certain species, these conditions create opportunity. The spider population identified inside the cave likely began as a small group exploiting seasonal insect influxes. With no significant predators present and a reliable, though limited, food supply, survival rates would have remained steady. Unlike surface environments, caves impose few sudden changes. No storms, no frost cycles, no extreme heat. In such stability, growth does not require rapid reproduction. It requires continuity. The silk structures themselves contributed to that continuity. Layered webbing traps airborne particles, increasing prey capture efficiency. Older silk provides scaffolding for new construction. Over time, the network becomes self-supporting, distributing weight across mineral anchors. The colony's expansion across multiple chambers suggests gradual outward movement rather than explosive growth. Each generation inherited infrastructure, each layer reinforced the last. Humidity measurements showed that the silk canopy may also help retain moisture within upper chambers, subtly influencing microclimate conditions. The spiders were not altering the cave dramatically. They were integrating into it. Sealing the site was not a response to threat. It was a preservation decision. Large-scale disturbance could collapse sections of the silk canopy, reducing prey capture efficiency and disrupting breeding cycles. Artificial lighting and repeated airflow changes might alter insect entry patterns. The ecosystem depended on consistency. Human presence introduces variability. There were also safety considerations. The upper silk layers, though strong individually, could entangle equipment. Reduced visibility posed navigation risks in deeper sections. The recommendation was formalized. Limited scientific entry would be permitted only under controlled intervals. The primary chambers would remain closed to general access. No eradication was proposed, no removal attempted. The colony had occupied the cave without conflict, without intrusion beyond its boundaries. It had grown quietly, year after year, in a space few remembered existed. What remains uncertain is the total population. Full mapping was incomplete. Several deeper tunnels were left unexplored to avoid structural disturbance. The possibility exists that the colony extends further than recorded, or that it will continue expanding slowly, imperceptibly, as long as the cave remains stable. The entrance has since been resealed. From the surface, nothing indicates the presence of tens of thousands of organisms suspended in layered architecture below. The hillside appears unchanged. Grass grows, wind passes. Beneath it, in steady darkness, an ecosystem continues without interruption. Not hidden intentionally, not concealed by design, simply sustained by isolation, and largely left alone.